I got revenge on my husband for ruining Mother's Day. Now he's leaving me and doesn't want custody of our kids. What should I do? Original post. Me and my husband have been together for the past 9 years. We have 2 kids, an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old. For Mother's Day, all I wanted was a free day. I wanted my husband to take the kids out somewhere for the day so I could be home alone and relax. Instead, he got me and the kids tickets to have a fun day out. And it was fun, and me and the kids had a good time, but it irked me that he gave me the exact opposite of what I'd asked for. For Father's Day, my husband also wanted a free day, so he could stay home and play games all day. He plays games all the time with his friends. He'll get home from work, maybe spend the time between then and dinner with the kids before going up to his office to game for a few hours with friends. Instead, I got him and the kids cards for an arcade an hour away, with a ton of tokens. I gave him the cards during dinner on Saturday so he and the kids could leave early and spend all day playing with them. I got my free day and he and the kids got to make a lot of memories together. He and I got into a fight when the kids went to bed. He was angry that I ignored what he wanted for Father's Day. I was angry he didn't see that he'd done the same thing to me on Mother's Day. He's been ignoring me since, and won't accept my apologies. Too long, didn't read. I ignored my husband's wish to have a free day of Father's Day, and got him and the kids a day out, because he did the same thing to me on Mother's Day, and now he won't stop ignoring me, or accept my apologies. Edit. Some people are thinking that me, my husband and our kids went out for Mother's Day. We didn't. I took the kids for a day out while he played video games all day with his friends. Edit. I can't believe I have to say this. I do not hate, resent, or in any other way dislike my children. My point was not that going on a day out with them is terrible and I hate it. My point was that it really sucks asking for on thing and being given the opposite relevant comments. Comment 1. That's hilarious. I wouldn't apologize at all. Tell him to come talk to you when he's done being a piss baby. Oop. I really don't feel sorry and I feel like I was justified. I just want him to stop ignoring me. Comment 2. There is no way he didn't know what he was doing when he set up a day with you and the kids on Mother's Day without him around. Or, I guess maybe he's legitimately insane. I feel crazy reading these comments accusing you of resenting your kids or being a bad wife for getting petty. Like, yeah. It was petty. People get petty when they're mistreated and taken advantage of. And now he's lying to you and saying it's not the same and not what he was trying to do? Please. Any husband with half a brain knows that Mother's Day is a holiday the father-husband participates in actively. Not just planning, or buying. But it is present. With you. With the kids. Trying to give you time off. It's what he wanted for Father's Day. He knew it's what you wanted for Mother's Day. Yeah, it was petty. I would be petty too, if my partner got me an obligation and got themselves a day of rest. You two need to talk it out, but he needs to own up to what he did. Ope. I don't understand how people think that I resent my own kids. On both days the kids had so much fun. When they came back from the arcade they wouldn't stop telling me how much fun they had, and showing me the prizes they'd helped win. When we had our fight, it was after they were in bed. They picked up on him ignoring me. But I've not told them why. Just that he's busy with work, and is cranky because of it. Comment 3. Some of the people responding to this are teenagers. There's no age limit. I'm not surprised you're getting dumb responses like accusations of hating your kids. Oop. There are many accusations of me hating my kids, and calling me selfish for wanting to have a day to myself, instead of spending it with my kids, as if I have an infinite amount of energy and time in the day to cook, clean, take care of the kids, and have time for myself when I don't. Update 1. Too long didn't read my last post. My husband didn't get me what I asked for Mother's Day, a day to myself to relax. So on Father's Day when he also asked for a day to relax I gave him what he'd given me for Mother's Day. We had a big fight over it which ended with him ignoring me for days. People keep asking me for an update so here you go. We're in the process of getting a divorce. Now please stop asking for an update. I didn't know that my post would get so popular, and people would decide to repost it to other platforms, and if I had known that I wouldn't have made that post at all. Relevant comments. Comment 1. Thank you for updating us, and I'm sorry you have to go through this. Did he ever see reason about the Mother's equals Father's Day gift, or did he remain willfully obtuse to the end? Oopie. He hasn't, and still says that when he did it to me was different when I did the same thing to him. Comment 2. I'm sorry. I hope you're able to heal and find someone you won't have to, an eye for an eye, in order to get them to understand what you need. Oop. I'm just hoping to find someone with basic empathy. I did all that and he still doesn't understand why I was upset with my gift. Comment 3. At least now you can relax when he has the kiddos. Oop. I'll relax when they're at my parents' house since he doesn't want custody of them. Comment 4. I would eat my own tongue before I apologize to him. You make nothing up to him. Did he make Mother's Day up to you? Please, these are all grown-ass men who manage their lives in every other aspect. This is just laziness. Oop. No. He never apologized for Mother's Day. Comment 5. Throw the whole husband away. My ex forgot Christmases, Mother's Days, birthdays. He actually said he was planning. It doesn't get better, it only gets worse. I promise you there's freedom on the other side. Opa. That's the plan. Why don't they get marriage counseling? Opa. He refused to go, many times, until he told me he wanted a divorce and all of a sudden it was, we don't have to go that far. What happened to till death do us part? Why don't we go talk to someone for the kids? That ship sailed long ago. Mother's Day is infinitely better now that I'm single than it was when I was married. May 14, 2024. I didn't wake up to a messy kitchen that I was expected to clean after eating a subpar breakfast. I didn't have to fight with anyone over what gift I was given. I didn't have to cook dinner after an exhausting day where I got no help or thanks from my ex. I didn't have to do anything else that I came to expect with Mother's Day. I didn't feel the stress I have felt every other Mother's Day. I got to have a lazy morning in bed with my kids. We made pancakes for brunch. They gave me cards they'd made in school. And we watched movies on the couch all day, and ordered pizza for dinner, and it was wonderful. Story 2. Dad hates my house and apparently expects me to take in my brother's children at some point. Original post. I don't know if this is the right sub for this. But at this moment, as the only blood-related woman on my father's side of the family, it feels gendered. IDK. Maybe I'm wrong. A few days ago my dad came over to my house for the first time in quite a while. I've had a lot of renovations done since he last saw the place when we first moved in. I have a nervous system condition which, while very fortunate to be able to manage it in such a way that it usually doesn't impact my life most days out of any given month, can render certain simple tasks very difficult for me when I'm having a flare. It's also important, as part of managing my condition and maintaining my high level of function, to limit certain activities which can bring about a crash or a flare. My husband is also disabled. He has hypermobile EDS, so together we made a list of things we'd love to have as accommodations in the home we share, and we either DIY'd those things or found contractors to do them for us. I'm really happy with the results. I find that these accommodating renovations make my life a lot easier. I have fewer crashes, and overall more energy. My husband is elated with how much more functional he can be after we made these changes. My father isn't a fan. He thinks it all makes the house too weird. He's worried about the resale value, not that we're planning to sell anytime soon. He had a lot of comments when he came over. In fact, it was almost all he talked about. I kept trying to gently tell him that this is just what works for us, and then divert the subject, but he was getting a bit worked up, which isn't really like him in those types of situations. The plan for his visit was he'd come over, meet my foster dog that he might adopt, and take the dogs for a walk, then get lunch. When I left him alone for a minute to go use the bathroom after we'd walked the dogs, I came back out and found that he'd attempted to pull one of our accommodating mechanisms out of the kitchen wall. He hadn't caused any functional damage, but he did cause aesthetic damage in that it will now need to be repainted over. I was shocked and kind of hysterical in my reaction, and I raised my voice at him when I saw what he was doing. I think I yelled, "What the fuck are you doing, Dad? What's your problem?" And he responded, "I just wanted to see if it was removable. Sorry, it's just too weird. It's too weird, it's just not going to work when Billy and Bobby move in with you." Billy and Bobby are my nephews, my brother's kids. I have never invited them to stay with me, let alone move in for any amount of time, and I've never been asked to do so. Even in the event that my brother and sister-in-law passed away in some tragic manner. To my knowledge, I should be very far down a very long list of people who could be asked to take those kids in before I would be asked. So, I was pretty shocked my dad would say something like that out of the blue, and with so much frustrated emotion, about Billy and Bobby moving in. Because there's no reason, to my knowledge, For anyone to think that would possibly be happening. I asked him to clarify repeatedly, but he just waved it off and told me to forget he said anything, and he didn't want to talk about it. I pressed him, and all he said was, "Well, honey, it's a massive house. You have room for 2 boys." When I asked him why he would even bring it up though, and clarified that not only did I have absolutely no desire to host my nephews for a visit, let alone to move them in, he clammed up again and just said, "Forget I ever said anything." He apologized for damaging my home, immediately transferred a larger sum than necessary to me via Zelle to fix the scratch he'd made, and then took me out to lunch as we planned prior. The rest of the day with him was pretty normal, and I guess I was just a little shocked or something because I didn't bring it up again. But now that it's been a few days, I can't get it out of my head, and I'm so annoyed. First of all, my dad hasn't ever been and would never be that aggressive about any decoration or renovation in my brother's homes. He just wouldn't. And I can't help but feel that he is less respectful of my home because I'm a woman. Which sucks. But more upsetting, confusing. What the fuck was he talking about in terms of my nephews? Like, is my family conspiring in some way to move those kids in with me? It wouldn't be the first time that my family assumed I'd take care of those kids without asking me first, but in the past it was just babysitting, and I have directly told everyone that even that is unacceptable. So I would be really shocked if my brother Sil thought that was acceptable. I guess I'm just spinning out and don't really know what to do about it. I'm stuck between asking my father about it again first, or just reaching out to my brother directly. Some of UP's comments. Commenter. Is there something wrong with your brother that he can't raise his own kids? Oop. No, nothing wrong. To my knowledge, my brother isn't looking to move his kids out of his own home either. They are sometimes difficult kids. A little delayed and a lot entitled, enabled. In the past they've leaned heavily on family for childcare since my brother has a demanding job and my Sil has a hard time being alone with her kids. When I lived with my dad, I was a big part of that equation, and ended up being more responsible for those kids than I'd have agreed to, because I wasn't in control of telling them if they could bring the kids over as it was my father's house. But even when I still lived with my dad, I was able to establish some boundaries, and assert that I wouldn't agree to care for them on demand. And that was generally respected after I put my foot down a few times. Commenter. I'd definitely try to get more info from your dad, but failing that it wouldn't be bad to talk to your brother. It seems like a really out-of-pocket thing to say unless he has some serious information you don't. Ope. It's incredibly out of pocket. Not only do I not want those kids to live with me, but I also would assume that my brother wouldn't want his kids to live with me. There are a million reasons why, but chiefly it wouldn't be a good idea safety-wise for those kids. I've been dealing with a stalker for years who has already threatened me that she would harm my nephews, at which point I distanced myself from Billy and Bobby, stopped picking them up from school, etc. And the threats directed at them stopped. Currently I'm working on taking legal action, but nothing is set in stone, and even the idea of those kids, who are difficult but who I also love very much, being in my home makes me worried that they would be directly targeted, or that there would be some escalation. I actually can't imagine that my family would think it's a good idea to move those kids in with me. Like, I can't imagine circumstances where that would seem appropriate. Commenter. Yeah. Particularly given that information, but even without it, it's hard to imagine your brother or Sil would want or expect you to take in their kids short of some kind of serious health or relationship emergency. And even then, that wouldn't be something for your dad to be concerned about unless he's a particularly worrying person. Ope. Even if there's an emergency, I simply cannot be the first person on their list to take those kids in. I'm the only younger female blood relative, I guess, but there are so many other relatives and family friends who need to come before me on that list. My brother and Sil have a massive village, so I'm talking dozens. It's baffling to me that it would come down to me to take those kids in under any circumstances. Commenter. The fact that he was actively trying to tear your house apart is a huge red flag. My bet is your brother is getting a divorce, and they were just going to dump then on you since his job is so demanding. Ope. Honestly, I feel like a fucking idiot that the two of them getting divorced hadn't even crossed my mind. Not that they have an actively bad marriage or anything, but I think their dynamic is weird and I guess I wouldn't be shocked. Thank you for this insight. I mean, either way it's a no from me for various reasons. Commenter. Better yet. Group text to them. Guys, I'm worried about Dad. He came over the other day and kinda flipped out about our disability accommodations and tried to rip one off the wall. Then he thought Billy and Bobby were coming to live here, but couldn't explain why. I'm worried. Has anyone else noticed strange, aggressive behavior? Oop. I think I'll go with this, but on a call. I want to hear a response in real time. My dad has normalized triangulation a bit too much in this family for my comfort. Commenter. How old is your dad? Could he be having a sort of mental episode that he thinks your nephews are supposed to move in with you? Barring that, I'd ask your brother, hey, do you have any idea why dad would say this? Is something going on? Oop. He's in his 70s, but he's still sharp enough to be working. I asked my other brother, nebulously without mentioning the reason why, who works with my dad every day, if he'd noticed any decline, and he said dad seems sharp as ever in their work environment. It's pretty mentally demanding work, so I think it would be evident there. I'll also note though, my dad rejected an OCD diagnosis when he was in therapy after my parents' divorce. So he's not without any history of mental illness. Not sure if that would cause this behavior though. Commenter. If this is a new development, it may be a UTI. The symptoms of an undiagnosed UTI can mimic early-stage dementia. And UTIs can have no physical symptoms, like burning or pain during urination, in the early stages. Look up silent UTIs. Oh shit. Dad has gotten several UTIs before. Just Googled it and I had no clue that they could be silent, or that they could impact cognition. Commenter. Is your dad okay with your and your husband's disabilities? It sounds ableist, like he was trying to remove the reminder of your disability, and then came up with a nonsensical excuse after the fact. Oop. My dad is in utter denial that I'm disabled. He only briefly accepted when my symptoms were severe and I couldn't work, but after I started my own business, he's basically just been totally averse to the idea that I need to manage my symptoms, and thinks I'm being dramatic. People ask several questions about the stalker OOP mentioned in one of the comments. It's okay. She's someone I used to be friends with, and honestly it's my bad because I hung in there even when I realized she was becoming mentally unstable. She became fixated on my husband when he and I began dating, and I became the enemy in her eyes. On if dad takes the stalking seriously. No, he does actually take her seriously. This woman has stalked him too, and done property damage to his house. Update 1. I talked to my brother on the phone about the situation, and he expressed that he had absolutely no idea why our father would imply that Billy and Bobby would need to move in with me at any point. He seemed genuinely surprised and had no clue what the hell dad was talking about. He claims to have absolutely never expressed anything like that to our dad. I believe him. I asked him if there was any possible reason at all that dad would think that I'd need to take in my nephews. Like, is there some problem dad thinks he is pre-solving without consulting either of us? Is there an illness or impending divorce or anything I don't know about? My brother assured me that there's nothing like that going on, and that, as I assumed, I of course, wouldn't even be near the top of the list of permanent caregivers, even if something was going on, because he knows I run 2 businesses out of my house, and also just am not up for taking his kids in, unless I am the absolute last safe resort. Both of us are in agreement, as is our other oldest brother, that dad generally doesn't seem to have any other signs that we've noticed of declining cognitive function. Like at all. But since this was such a strange outburst, we're still concerned that this is just the earliest sign. My brother, Billy and Bobby's dad, is going to talk to our dad about it ASAP and see what he says or what explanation he can give. Then we'll go from there. The issue that we're both aware of is that my dad, while a loving father and good man to many, is a bit of a liar and a lot of a manipulator. He has a lot of signs of OCD, and gets fixated on things, then tries to manipulate to get his way with his fixation. He means well, but he has been known to be full of shit, and to have his own strange agendas that don't have much to do with anyone else's wants or needs. So unfortunately, my brother and my brother has volunteered to go first LOL, are going to have to confront him by essentially saying, Dad, it's really important that you're honest about whether you are confused, or intentionally lying, triangulating, manipulating. Because that's the difference between us freaking out about your health versus us just understanding that sometimes you lie to push your agenda but your brain is fine. Thank you to everyone who gave me feedback here. You've all been so sweet and supportive except that one guy who for some reason was dead convinced that I didn't pay for my own home and commented several times and DM'd me about it. I did pay for my home, and it's solely in my name. You weirdo. I'll keep y'all updated on what my brother and I figure out going forward. Thanks for watching and being part of the drama. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a wild news story.